Let's work on some derivatives. So what's the derivative of x to the minus 1? Here this is similar to the integrals. So you take the first one comes down and then you remove 1 from the top. So minus 1 minus 1. So here what we have is x minus 2, which is the same thing of saying it's minus 1. And because the minus is on top, we have the same part here, but positive. So this is your final answer. So continuing on, so let's say what's the derivative of x minus 2? Same thing. So minus 2 comes to the front. Then you take 1 from that, and then it's minus 2, x minus 3. And because x minus 3 is negative, we leave everything on the top as is, and this guy comes to the bottom. Okay? So let's do another one. So let's say it's x, but minus 4 this time. So it's the same thing. Minus 4 comes down. Then it's x minus 5, and we keep the minus 4 on top. And because this one is negative, the exponent, I mean, so this is x to the 5th power. Okay? So this is the example when you have polynomials. But what about when you have trigonometrics? How does this work then? Well, it's pretty similar, but we have some common differences here. Let's work out some examples. So in this specific case, we have 2x, because we are doing the derivative of this one, so 2 comes to the front like before, and 2 minus 1 is 1, so this is the first part. And then we are going to do the derivative of sine, so sine is cosine, and then the rest we keep the same, so x squared. So let's say now we have sine, but of x to the 4th power. Again, same thing, so 4x 3, and then cosine x 4. Okay, let's do another one. So let's say we have now this one, so x 5, same thing, so it's 5x 4 cosine x 5. Okay, so let's do another one. So let's say this time is sine x, but 1/2. This is, as you know, the same thing as square root. So all we're doing here is taking this one to the front, and then it's x, and this is 1/2 minus 1, so this is minus 1/2, and times the cosine of x, 1 divided by 2. So you can even further simplify this, because as you know, this one is a negative exponent. So you can keep the first part on top, so 1 times cosine of 1 divided by 2, which is the same thing as having cosine of square root of x. And then because this element is negative, we have the square root of x here with the 2, because 2 is dividing, okay? So we have, again, we have this element, which is this guy here. We have the cosine here, which is this one. And we have this element here, which is this one. What about this one? So what's the derivative of sine 2x 1/2? What's the derivative of this one? Feel free to pause the video and try it for yourself. We're learning together. So this time we have 2 here. And then the same process as before, so the constant comes down, and then you have x, and then you remove 1 from 1/2. So 1/2 minus 1, that's minus 1/2. And then the second part is the same, so cosine 2x 1, 2. So you can even further simplify this a bit, as you see, because this is the same thing as having x minus 1, 2. So this part is the same, 2x 1 divided by 2. And as you know, because the exponent is negative here, you can have it in a different form. So cosine 2x, and we know 1/2 is the square root. So this is the same thing as saying this. And then the first element comes to the bottom as square root. What about this one? So let's say now we have sine of 2x to the 3 divided by 2. What's the derivative of this one? Again, same thing. So 2 times 3 divided by 2 x, and then is 3 divided by 2 minus 1, right? Then it's the derivative of this one, so it's times cosine 2x 3 divided by 2. So you can even further simplify this a bit. So you take these two ones because they cancel each other out. You have 3x, and then it's 3/2 minus 2 divided by 2, it's 1/2, times cosine 2x 3 divided by 2. And as we know, 1/2, this is the same thing as square root. So this is the square root of x times the cosine 2 And then, because this is 3 divided by 2, you could even further do this in a different way. So you can have 3 and then square root. What is the derivative of sine to the third power of x? Let's do this together. So when you take this one, this is the same thing as having sine of x and then the whole thing to the third power. And these derivatives are solved by doing the same process as we have been doing before. So 3 comes to the front and then times what's inside. So this minus 1 times the derivative of what's inside. In our specific case, it's cosine of x. So in this one, this might seem similar to that one, but it isn't. Because this one is solved by doing the following. So the first one is 3x to the second power, and then times cosine of what's there. Notice when doing these problems that these are different. Pay attention to where the exponent is, because this is where it resides the problem.